What happens when one of Hollywood's most revered legends walks into a late-night studio, only to find himself ambushed? Not by jokes, not by fanfare, but by decades-old secrets no one was supposed to remember. Tonight we dive into one of the most explosive moments in television history, when Al Pacino, the iconic star of The Godfather, Scarface, and Scent of a Woman, sat down for what was meant to be a simple promotional appearance, and ended up in a televised interrogation. It started like any other night. The lights, the crowd, the familiar theme music. Pacino, now in his 80s, walked onto Jimmy Kimmel Live to thunderous applause, still carrying that magnetic presence that had defined his career. He smiled, he waved, he sat down. What followed was anything but routine. Kimmel, known for his sharp humor and occasional edge, started light. Al Pacino, everybody. The man, the myth, the legend. But just minutes into the conversation, the mood shifted. "Before we get into your new film," Kimmel said, "there's something I've always wanted to ask you." What came next caught everyone, including Pacino, off guard. Kimmel leaned in. "I've been doing some digging, Al, about your early days in Hollywood. Stories that maybe you thought would never see the light of day." The audience fell into uneasy silence. Pacino's demeanor stiffened. "I'm here to talk about my current work, Jimmy. Not rumors." But Kimmel didn't back down. "Let's talk about the Corsican Brothers incident, 1978. You remember that, don't you?" Pacino's smile vanished. "I don't know what you're referring to." Kimmel reached beneath his desk and pulled out a manila folder. "Because I have records, sworn statements, accounts from the set, and even a police report that never got filed." The tension was electric, palpable. Pacino's voice dropped, cold, controlled. "You're playing a dangerous game, Jimmy." But Kimmel pushed harder. "Am I? Or are you just afraid of what people might finally learn?" What followed was a verbal chess match, allegation versus denial, document versus deflection, until Pacino stood, removed his mic, and prepared to walk off. "This interview is over." But Kimmel wasn't finished. "Sit down, Al. We're just getting started." Gone was the laughter. Gone was the charm. In its place, a brutal, public reckoning. This wasn't just an interview gone wrong. It was a generational clash. A test of legacy. A raw, unscripted explosion of secrets, power, and ego, all playing out in front of millions. Was this accountability? Or ambush? Journalism? Or a hit job? You decide. Before we dive into the full breakdown of what happened that night, and what those sealed documents actually say, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments, was Jimmy Kimmel out of line? Or was this the reckoning Hollywood's been avoiding for too long? Let's unpack everything. Right now. The young actress from that indie film you did, the one who mysteriously vanished from Hollywood right after shooting wrapped. The audience was frozen. Even the cameras felt still, as if the room itself held its breath. "That's enough," Pacino said quietly. His voice was low, but there was danger beneath it. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Kimmel leaned in, calm and cutting. "Because I've got 3 witnesses who say otherwise. 3 people who were there, who saw it, who've carried this secret for over 40 years. "I'm warning you, Jimmy," Pacino said, eyes narrowing. "Warning me?" Kimmel said with mock fear. "Oh, I'm trembling. What are you gonna do, Al? Make me an offer I can't refuse?" The cheap Godfather jab hit like a slap. Pacino's eyes darkened. You think this is funny? He growled. You think people's lives are just punchlines for your ratings? I think the truth is compelling television, Kimmel replied. And the truth is, you've been hiding behind your legacy, while real people, real victims, were left in the shadows. Victims? Pacino scoffed. Of what, exactly? Of your temper, your ego, your need to control everyone around you, Kimmel said coldly. Pacino shook his head. This is insanity. You're out of line. Am I? Kimmel leaned back in his chair, satisfied. Or am I finally doing what no one had the guts to do before? You're chasing ghosts, Pacino said, though his voice wavered now. Kimmel flipped through his folder. Let's talk about Marina Vulov. The name landed like a punch. Pacino went pale. He blinked hard, suddenly looking years older. I don't know anyone by that name, he said, but there was a crack in his voice. Really? Kimmel pressed. Marina Vulov, 22 years old, worked with you on 3 Days of Rain, talented, beautiful. She had her whole life ahead of her, until she just disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. People leave the business all the time, Pacino muttered. It's brutal. Sure, Kimmel nodded. But most of them don't leave behind a hospital report that shows injuries consistent with physical assault. Most of them don't have friends calling the cops, terrified she was going to be found dead. Pacino's grip tightened on the chair. Whatever game this is, it's sick, and it ends now. No, Hal, Kimmel said. It ended 40 years ago, in room 427. Meridian Hotel, Philadelphia. Ring any bells? The audience gasped. A woman in the front row put her hand to her mouth. You can't say these things, Pacino said, visibly trembling. This is slander, defamation. I'm not making accusations, Kimmel replied. I'm asking questions, questions that should have been asked decades ago. He pulled out another paper. Marina kept a diary. She wrote about you, how you'd corner her in her trailer, how her career depended on keeping you happy. That's a lie, Pacino said flatly. Is it? Kimmel held up the diary. Because I've got her words right here. Want me to read them aloud? Don't you dare, Pacino snapped, rising from his seat. Oh, now we're seeing it, Kimmel said coolly. That famous Pacino temper, the one everyone in the industry whispers about but no one will ever name on record. You have no right to broadcast someone's private thoughts, especially if she's not here to defend herself. Kimmel's voice softened, just slightly. She's not here, Al. She died 3 years ago. Overdose. Alone in a Burbank apartment. No family, no friends. Just the weight of what happened. The studio was silent. Not even a cough. Just the slow burn of disbelief. Pacino stood still, fists clenched at his sides. You're lying, he whispered. I wish I were, Kimmel said. But the coroner's report is public record. So is the note she left. Want to hear what it said? Pacino didn't answer. Kimmel read anyway. Some monsters wear masks. The worst ones hide behind fame and respect. Al Pacino destroyed my life, and no one will ever believe me. Pacino lunged forward but stopped short of Kimmel's desk. Security took a step closer. You son of a... Pacino snarled. How dare you use a dead woman to come after me? I'm not using her, Kimmel said. I'm giving her a voice, something she never had. She had problems, drugs, alcohol, trauma. She was unstable. Kimmel raised an eyebrow. And there it is. The go-to defense. She was unstable. She was troubled. She was asking for it. That's the story, right? I never said she was asking for anything. But you did hurt her. Kimmel pressed. Didn't you? The silence stretched. The camera stayed locked on Pacino's face as it twisted. Rage, regret, fear, all at once. Finally, Pacino spoke. I want to see those documents. You what? You heard me? He snapped. If you're going to destroy me on national TV, I want to see what you think you have. Kimmel hesitated. I don't think that's necessary. But it is, Pacino said, stepping forward. Because if you have real evidence, you should be talking to the police, not putting on a circus. And if you don't, then this is just a con. So which is it, Jimmy? Kimmel's jaw tightened. I have multiple sources. Sources, not evidence. Pacino cut in. Big difference. And if you don't know that, maybe it's not me who's in over his head. Pacino, do you even understand the difference, Jimmy Kimmel? I know the difference between right and wrong. And what you did to that girl was wrong. Pacino, what I allegedly did, what you claim I did, based on accounts from people who weren't there, documents you refused to show, and the diary of a woman who struggled with mental illness her entire life. Kimmel, so you admit you knew about her mental health. Pacino, I admit nothing. But if you'd done your homework, which clearly you haven't, you'd know Marina Volkov spent years in and out of rehab throughout the 80s and 90s. She had a history of making false accusations. Kimmel, false accusations, or ones buried by powerful men like you. Pacino, sharp. Tell me, Jimmy, how much did you pay for this evidence? There's an entire industry built on selling fake stories to desperate talk shows. You got hustled. Kimmel, voice tightening. These documents are real. Pacino, then, prove it. Show them. Let me review them. Let my lawyers verify them. Unless, of course, you're afraid they won't hold up under scrutiny. Kimmel, this is a talk show, not a courtroom. Pacino, no, this is an ambush. This is a public execution of my character dressed up as journalism. And your audience deserves to know exactly what kind of theater they're part of. He turns to the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're watching isn't accountability. It's exploitation. A desperate play for ratings at the cost of truth. Kimmel, defensive. This isn't about ratings. Pacino, isn't it? Your numbers have been tanking, haven't they? Streaming platforms, TikTok influencers. Tough competition, these days. A scandal involving a Hollywood legend. That's the kind of thing that gets clicks, Kimmel. If this was about spectacle, I wouldn't have waited this long. I did it because men like you have skated by for decades, protected by a system built to shield them. Pacino, what system? What behavior? You still haven't shown a single piece of verified evidence. Kimmel, I have testimony from 3 people who were on that set. Pacino, names. Give me names. If they're making serious accusations, they should be willing to stand behind them. Kimmel, I can't reveal my sources. Pacino, mocking. Of course not. How convenient. You got played, Jimmy. By someone with an axe to grind. And you took the bait without checking the facts. Kimmel, the facts have been checked. Pacino, by who? Your researchers, your producers? Do any of them know how to authenticate a 40-year-old document? Do they have any background in criminal investigation? Kimmel, flustered. Al, now you're deflecting. Pacino, no. I'm exposing your methods. Because what you're doing here is trial by media. You've already declared me guilty. There's no room for truth in a setup like this. Kimmel, I'm giving victims a voice. Pacino, what victims? Marina Volkov has been dead for 3 years. Your witnesses are faceless. Or are you the victim now, Jimmy? The brave host who just had to take on the big, bad actor? The audience is silent, tension thick in the air. Kimmel, this is exactly what I expected. Attack the messenger instead of addressing the message. Pacino laughs cold. What message? That you say I'm a monster? That half a century in this business means nothing because you're holding a manila folder? That's not truth. It's performance. Kimmel, it means power can corrupt. It means fame protects men who should be held accountable. Pacino, deadly calm. Then let's talk about power. Let's talk about what you just did. You lured me here under false pretenses. You ambushed me with unverified claims. You aired diary entries from a dead woman without her family's consent. You've likely ruined my reputation, hurt people I care about. All for what? Ratings? Your twisted sense of justice? Kimmel, I did what needed to be done. Pacino, no. You did what you wanted to do. There's a difference. If you truly cared about justice, you'd have gone to the authorities, encouraged your witnesses to file police reports, worked with credible journalists. But you didn't, because this was never about justice. It was about spectacle. Kimmel, the authorities don't care about cases this old. Pacino, how do you know that? Did you even try? Or did you just decide they wouldn't care because it fit your narrative better? Kimmel was visibly unraveling now. Beads of sweat dotted his brow. His hands trembled slightly as he shuffled through his notes, scrambling to regain composure. Kimmel, Al, I get that you're upset, but walking off isn't gonna make this go away. Pacino, walking off? Jimmy, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes while you've tried to tear down everything I've built. I've answered your questions. I've challenged your so-called evidence. I've given you the chance to present facts instead of insinuations. What more do you want from me? Kimmel, I want you to take responsibility for what you've done. Pacino, for what exactly? You've thrown around vague accusations, intimidation, assault, cover-ups, but you haven't presented a single specific claim I can actually respond to. No dates, no places, no names, just whispers. Kimmel, the diary entries are detailed. Pacino, the entries you won't let me see? From a woman who, by your own account, battled mental illness and substance abuse. Jimmy, do you even understand what evidence is? Do you know the difference between an allegation and proof? Kimmel, I know powerful men have been silencing women for generations. Pacino, and I know that destroying someone's life over rumor and speculation isn't justice. It's vigilantism. You're not a judge. You're not a journalist. You're a talk show host, playing prosecutor with someone's life on the line. The audience grew uneasy. Whispers circulated. Faces turned toward each other in quiet disbelief. Pacino, rising, unclipping his mic. This interview is over. Kimmel, I'll sit down. We're not finished. Pacino, voice calm, final. Yes, we are. He stood tall, unflinching. Pacino, I came here to talk about my work. You turned it into a spectacle. I've spent over 50 years in this business. Worked with thousands. I've had regrets, sure, but never anything like what you're suggesting. And using a woman's death to manufacture scandal. That says everything about your character, not mine. Kimmel, don't walk away from this. Don't walk away from the truth." Pacino paused at the edge of the stage, turning to face the camera. "Pacino, the truth is, what you just witnessed is the problem. Trial by talk show. No evidence, no process. Just accusation, performance, and destruction. And the saddest part, some people will believe it, because it's more entertaining than the truth. Kimmel, desperate. So you're just going to let them assume you're guilty?" Pacino, softly. "I'm going to let them think for themselves. Something you clearly don't trust them to do." He looked into the lens, locking eyes with the audience at home. "Pacino, remember what you saw here. A man accused, without warning, without evidence, without a chance to prepare. Not for justice, not for truth, but for ratings." Kimmel reached out, pleading. Kimmel, "Let's talk this through. Rationally." Pacino, turning away. "There's nothing rational about what you just did. You crossed a line tonight, Jimmy. You used your platform to play judge and jury, with nothing more than unverified documents and a desire for headlines." And with that, Al Pacino walked off stage. Jimmy Kimmel sat alone, clinging to a now meaningless folder. The audience watched in stunned silence, uncertain who the real villain was anymore. The cameras kept rolling as Kimmel struggled to find words, but it was too late. In trying to take down a legend, he may have revealed something far uglier about himself. Narrator. Voiceover. "So what do you think? Did Jimmy Kimmel do the right thing confronting Al Pacino on air? Or did he cross a line that should never be crossed? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one.